Welcome to Hook Vendor. My name is Harsh Kashyap and I am here with the course of Tourism Anthropology, which code is BANS-183. It is an interdisciplinary course of program BA Honors Political Science, which stands for BA PSH. So as we all know, our exam are very near and there are possibilities and speculation that our exam will be held in last June or July. It may extend up to July. So I have read 8 of the 10 subject and I am going to upload all subjects one by one because I am also a student of second year, so I can feel you what you are feeling, because it is very hard to study these subjects one day, and without having the proper knowledge we are not able to we won't be able to write a good answer, and we have not written any exam, so we need to study these exams. So I have studied this book and it is very small book. It will take me 20 minutes to 30 minutes 20 to 30 minutes to summarize the gist of this book. I will go topic by topic and I will tell you the importance and the crux of the topic so that you will able to perform in exam, because these are the subject which are only going which are whose paper is going to be 50 marks, and it is, I think it is easier to prepare. You can prepare this subject in 1 or 2 day, or I can say course. So let us begin. It is tourism anthropology. We all are very familiar and known to tourism, but when we go to the technical terms, according to the subject, there are different terminology which we need to know. Otherwise we all know what is tourism, what is guest, what is host, and let's jump into it. So this course contains two block. First is tourism anthropology and second is emerging trends in anthropology and tourism. Each have 5 chapter, so you need to see the name of chapters. Why I am saying that, I will tell you. The first is introduction to tourism, second is tourist and tourism, third is tourism through anthropological lens, fourth is tourism and culture, fifth is commodification of culture, and so on. Why I am saying you to study the topic, headline of the topic, because the content of the that topic is hidden in the headline. If you want to study tourism anthropology, then you need to know what is tourism. So here it is written introduction to tourism, so we will see what is tourism, then who is tourist, and then the anthropological perspective in tourism, which came later in 19s, 20s and 60s, and then tourism and culture and commodification of culture, and so on, other technical terms which are involved. We are going to learn in the layman language because we have to write, and my aim is for a 400 word we will write 4 pages, and we should write 4 pages, and for 500 words we should write 5 pages, and for 10 marks we should write at least one page both side, and for 5 marks one side one page. So let us start from introduction of tourism. You can read this if you have time, or you are in first year and you are watching for your preparation for second year. You can read this course introduction. I have already read this. As you can see, I have marked everything. It is clearly mentioned in what you need to know. After completion the course, a learner is to expect to define tourist and tourism, comprehend the relationship between anthropology and tourism, explain how the tourist affects the lives of the host, and all in all, what is tourism, what is its impact, who are involved, what is the relationship between people who are involved. This is the crux of this course, and for the exam purpose we need to know what is tourism and culture, political, economic of tourism, tourism versus heritage site, intangible, tangible sites. These are the things which we need to study. And ecotourism, then new direction in anthropology and tourism. So this is the way is written over here how to study these books. The bold capitals are headings and the subsections under it are given. Now we don't possess that time, so we will just jump into the course. So it is a block 1 of understanding tourism, and first chapter is introduction to anthropology and tourism. First of all, we need to have a pre-prepared definition of tourism, because you can use that in every question, mostly in most of the question you can use it. So it is simply written over here. First of all, what is the significance of tourism anthropology? Tourism anthropology study all these behind the scenes activities relating tourism with economic, political and social life of a particular place. Basically, first of all, let me tell you what is anthropology. Anthropology is a branch of science in which social science in which uh, scholars study about the behavior of human nature in past, present. So this is it, what is I told you about the anthropology. Now we need to jump, as here it is clearly mentioned what we are going to study. So here also it is mentioned that the term anthropology is derived from Greek word. This is a very important line which we can use in our exam as well. Anthropos means human and logos, that means study. Means anthropology means the study of human behavior. So what we study in anthropology? These are the type of anthropology is from perspective we think in tourism. These are the question which are raised rise when you are seeing tourism in the from the perspective of anthropology. First is who we are, how we came to be, why we are the way we are. Basically you can quote these three questions while writing answer and it will cover your 3 to 4 lines. Who we are, study of the past and the present. How we came to be originally and evolution. Why we are the way we are, variation. Basically first of all we study the past and present, behavior, tradition, cultures, and then the origin and evolution, how they came to the existence, then the variation. Because if we see a person from hilly area, it will be short and his eyes will be small because of their geographical condition. When you come to north, the Gharwals and others, they will be tall and different things. So here it is written about the physical biological anthropologists are interested in understanding the origin, evaluation, variation, development of human species. Basically, in the branch or the perspective from the biological, the anthropologists are interested in understanding the origin and evolution and variation of development and human race. And when we move on to the archaeological anthropology, they are interested to know the past, how people lived during the different cultures, whether it's Paleolithic age, Mesolithic age, and Neolithic age. So these was till here it is all written about anthropology significance and what are the perspective, what are their perspective and spectrum of thinking of tourism from the lens of anthropology. I hope I made myself clear and I have given you point what you can write in your answer, because in past year there was a question asked. The first question was the define anthropology, which I have covered, and after that it is written that discuss the role of anthropology in the study of tourism anthropology, which we are going to study further in this chapter. So you can quote this line: language is known as the vehicle of culture, linguistic anthropology, because here we learn about the different languages, their expression, their sounds. And here example is given which you can quote in your answer. And the let me read the example. A recent study has shown a village in Turkey where people communicate via whistling. Some of the dialects are fast disappearing in the face of modernization and obligation. Preserving and documenting such dialects forms a major activity of the linguistic anthropology. Basically, it is saying that they have found a village in Turkey where people communicate by whistle. They give symbols to each other through whistle. Sorry for the shakiness. Now, how we study anthropology. It is also very important how anthropology came in the spectrum of tourism industry or studies of tourism. And it is written that anthropology is rooted in the European journey of exploration and colonization of East. It is from the East time, and Goldbach published in 1890 by Sir James Fraser. This is the first written work with the perspective of anthropology. And what was written is that based on the narration of travelers, the administrators, and the missionaries, etc., of colonial times who traveled the far off places, brought back exotic story of the land and the people and their culture. Okay, I think I made myself clear over here, and the examples are here. You need to know these things so that you can quote in your answer. You need to know the Golden Bog published in 1980, so you will give us good start to your answer. And you should know the who were the significant scholars who wrote in this discipline. So the significance of the fieldwork lies in the understanding three questions as derived from the Malinowski's work. And the question were: what people think they ought to do, what people say they do, what people actually do. These are the three questions after that arised, and it was ideal behavior, normative behavior, real behavior. So you can quote this as well if you want to quote a very apt definition of anthropology. As I have read out that the question was asked in section 1 of past year, that which I have uploaded as well, that define anthropology. American Anthropological Association defines anthropology as the study of humans past and present. To understand the full sweep and complexity of the culture across all of the human history, anthropology draws up builds upon knowledge from the social and biological science as well as the humanities and physical science. A central concern of the anthropology is the application of knowledge to the solution of human problem. So, as I told, the human history, behavior, cultures, these are the things which are being studied in the anthropology and used to solve the human problem in present and future. Now we are done with anthropology. Now what is tourism? So we all know, we all have done tourism for recreational activity or for our work. We went to other place. It is also a kind of work tourism. So we will study this thing in future. I am not going to read out line by line because that is not my motto. My motto is to cover as soon as I cover, so that you will be able to get the idea and curves. It is 8:25 minute, 8 minute 27 seconds, so it may take long, but I want to make in two cut because otherwise it will be too lengthy to for upload to me. So let's begin. Valini L. Smith was the first anthropologist who wrote the book Host and Guests in Guest, the Anthropology of Tourism 1989, which is seen as the starting point of anthropological angle in tourism. In introduction she defined tourism as a, you can quote this exact line by quoting this scholar for to define tourism, and it is as a temporary leisured person who voluntarily visit a place for purpose of experience a change. Basically it is very easy to understand. I have graphs in one. I can tell you what is it. We should repeat with me and you can write it as it is. As a temporary leisured person who voluntarily visit a place for the purpose of experiencing a change. Basically tourism is something which we are doing for a chain. Tourism is not something we are going out to market and buying vegetable. That is not considered as tourism. Tourism is something which we do except from our day-to-day life, regular life, to have a chain. So she explained what is tourism. You can write this formula as well. The formula is tourism equals to leisure time plus discretionary income. Discretionary means saving extra income plus positive location sanction. You cannot go for tourism to ASI protected heritage, like ASI mean Archaeological Survey of India. They are not open for people. Most of them are not open for people because they are protected by laws. So you can went to only positive local sanctions. So as per the Smith, amount of time a person has and discretionary income that is not needed for personal essential like food, clothes, housing, healthcare, transportation, and the positive cultural sanction favoring tourism allows a individual to take a break from the regular monotony life. And here again it is it will in this book you will see a single term is described 4 or 5 times by different scholars, but you need to remember only one or two so that you can quote in your exam and write the exam. Eventually we need to pass the exam. If you have interest of reading that, you won't be able to learn all the things from this book. There are references given in this book which you need to use for the further study. If you are really interested to know more about it, these are the references, these are the research papers and some books written over here. You need to go through all these things, then you will be able to command this these book or this discipline. But this discipline is basically I am teaching you with the perspective of passing the exam which we have to give in July or August. I hope I made myself clear, and for sorry for boring you. Let us back to our book. And similarly, the J. Jaffrey in 1977 given the definition of tourism as an activity allows an individual to alternative his work life with the small period of flexion. So in all here it is written similarly, and you can read it, you can find it which is simple for you to remember. So just remember those which you can quote in your exam. I think according to me, you can write the definition by Valini L. Smith and Matheson, and after that you can quote the Van Hesriel, because in his book Tourism and Explanation suggested that there are four primary elements of tourism, and those are travel demand, tourism intermediaries, destination influence, and range of impacts. So you can make this flow chart to look your answer good and to get some extra marks, some brownie points. And similarly it is again quoted the other scholars and their perspective on tourism. Now history of tourism, this is a very important question because this might be asked according to me. So you can study this. To study this you need to know as it is. I will suggest you to remember these paragraph because you cannot do much about it because it is already limited. It is, you can treat it as an answer. I will read out the summary because it is very important, because if you are not able to recall this, then you can recall this and write according to you. So let us summarize what is written over here. Anthropologists argue that people rather than business should be heart of analysis of tourism. They are saying that people should be the main focus of analysis of tourism rather than business. Simple. Anthropology as a discipline offers critical analysis of tourism by recognizing the economic, environmental, and social domains within the bigger frame of today's globalized world. They are saying that anthropology discipline has a bigger and broader picture in this globalized world. And the third is with its in-depth quality approach, and anthropology stands in a unique position to study human dynamics and tourism. It is clear, I don't have to define. So it is easy, there is nothing hard to which you won't be able to recall, and I have told you what is the significance in your exam. Now anthropology perspective on tourism, this is also very important, and I will tell you what points are in it. First of all, you need to know what is cultural context and cultural change, because these can be directly asked. Cultural context is when we go to some tourist place, there we met with this different culture, and the overpowering or dominating culture affect the uh, weak culture. And culture change is something which is shifting. As in India we used to touch the feet of our parent, but due to the pop culture we are not able, we are forgetting about our old cultures and ethos. So this is something written in over here, and you need to know these scholars, Nunes and Mansperger and Greenwood, these, so that you can quote in your exam. I hope I made myself clear. Now impact of tourism, this is very common, you don't need to read it, you can write it on your own. Economic consequences, everybody knows due to tourism there is a economic bump or impetus in tourism industry and for people. I hope I made myself clear. And social consequences are people who are lagging behind education are knowing about the importance of education, they are moving towards education. Our places like Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, people are going for tourism over there, spreading the information about what is the importance of education, because education all over India is free for 6 to 14 year student in the article 21. You need to know this, because in the perspective on public administration book you need to code these things. Okay, now it is summary. So this is the gist. If you are studying it, if you have time, because it will be delayed to July, and I will suggest you should study because it is very interesting book. And firstly see the summary and then jump to the chapter. One chapter is completed and it's 16 minutes. I think it will take 2 hours for me, because I don't want to just skim it or read it for you. I want to tell you what is important, what is not. In this chapter I made you clear what you have to study and what you don't. Now tourist and tourism, this is very important, because no important question was asked in past paper, but this time I am hopeful they are going to ask. So first of all, again, what is the focus of tourism anthropology? It is written over here. Tourism, I have already told you what is tourism. Now we what we need to know is what is tourist, and we need to know the technical term. Now here what we have to study starts from here, because before that it was all generalized, anyone can write about it, but as we are doing the honors and it is interdisciplinary, so we need to be bit technical, otherwise there will be no difference between us and the layman who is not studying political science. So my main motto why I am teaching you is that we need to get the interest in this subject. If we are doing it, we need to make a career out of it. So, what is tourist? Is a tourist has been defined as temporarily leisured person who voluntarily visits a place away from home from the purpose of experiencing a change. It is written by it is said by Smith. While according to Link 2008, someone who travels at least 80 kilometer from his or her home for at least 24 hours for business or pleasure, for leisure or other reasons, is known as tourist. So as I told you that for business purpose or for leisure or other reason, if you are going beyond at least 20 kilometer or 24 hour outside your home, then it is a tourism. Arun Mozi and Panir Silvam stated that tourism is the short term association of people outside the domicile where they ordinarily live and work to destination that experience. Basically, the Panir Silvam is saying over here is that if you are going outside your domicile area, the village you are living or born, and if is in Uttar Pradesh and you are going to some other district or other city or other state, then it is a tourism for you. But if you are moving in your district, then it is not a tourism of that kind. So by United Nation World Tourism, this is a international organization, they work for the welfare of tourism, and the organization was formed in 1995, provides a simple version of the about. They have given the three type of tourism. First is domestic tourism, and second is inbound tourism, and third is outbound tourism. Domestic tourism is something if a resident of a country is touring around its country, and inbound is if a non resident, it's mean if a Australian is coming to India and visiting, and outbound is if a resident, if I am going to USA or Canada, then it is a outbound. I think I made myself clear, and it is very important for you to know this, because I have made it clear. You can write it in the 6 lines, it will cover your half of the page. Here you can remember this fact also, that United Nations World Trade Organization membership include 158 countries, 6 associates members, and over 500 affiliate members. So this is the data which you need to put, because we are doing political science, and political science is totally about data. If you read editorials, then without data there is no political science exists. So it is in hospitality terms integral to tourism, means basically the hospitality service are there included in tourism. The hospitality industry in the combination of accommodation, food and beverages, collective travel, and involves entities such as hotels, restaurant, tour agents, and their logistics. Now, type of tourism and tourist, I'm not going to teach you much about it, because I don't think they are going to be asked. If they ask, then you need to just mention domestic tourism and international tourism and geographical tourism, which is considered by the North American industry classification. And uh, you don't need to remember all these, like initial area, destination, number of participation, and all. This is not that important, according to me. Now here this is important: type of tourism, pilgrimage or religious tourism. In India we do a lot of it. Muslims go to Hajj in Saudi Arab, and people from Pakistan and different Muslim countries come to India to visit Vaishno Devi and the Hindu pilgrim. This is religious tourism. Ecotourism and nature tourism is like you are going to national parks and all. They come under the eco and natural. You will able to write it if you have basic idea. Then you will write it very well. In religious tourism, there is Kumbh Mela in by Hindus. People all over the world. In Hindi, there is saying लोग 7 समुंदर पार करके आते हैं कुंभ मेला देखने. तो समथिंग इज लाइक दैट ना. So now wildlife tourism, leisure tourism, they are self-explanatory. You just need to remember the heading and you are good to go and you can write. The history of tourism and study is very important. Again, we have studied the anthropological aspect and we need to see this, and I hope you will able to grasp it. It is derived from the Latin word hospes, which include the word guest, host, and foreigner. The word tourist appeared in the print 1972. Basically, the tourism is exists from ancient time. People in ancient time started tourism for the purpose of business and all, to sell their things and conquer fights. So these are the things which you need to. And now tourism and migration. It is very important. It is very very important because it was asked in past year question number 4, part A. 5 number, you need to write only one page and I think anyone can write it. I will make you understand. I will explain you what is it. By tourism, a lot of migration is happening because the tourism industry is very growing industry and giving lot of opportunity to people who don't have qualification or not educated. They are learning, they are acquiring skill, they are having stalls outside the tourism place like forts and all. So this is something tourism and migration related to. Let let me read out for you. Growth in migration and tourism are two of the most significant manifestation and globalization. Migration make an important social and economic contribution to destination countries, enriching their societies cultural, enhancing the tourism product and providing labor for the travel, tourism, hospitality and catering. As I have said, it is totally written over here that migration is happening because people are migrating for to seek employment, and basically who are not literate or don't possess any degrees. So according to United Nations World Tourism Organization has conducted many case studies to establish link between tourism and migration. It reflects that the growing interest of the tourism geographicals migrant in itself is also clear generator of tourism demand, with the increasing two-way flow of the expatriation. All what I have told you is the main cause is the economic job creation. And what is the difference between migrant and tourist? A tourist is someone who spends less than a year in a place, which migrants may stay longer and leave. Okay, now these are the pointers which you need to remember and it will help you how it is affecting the people who are the native of that tourist place. In addition to the job creation, improved income sources, improve as the better. Why people are migrating? Basically, these are the those increase in employment. Young people are encouraged to say, and people from rural areas are willing have no problem in doing dirty, antisocial and dangerous work because they want to fill their basic essential needs and they can do anything. Basically, all the septic tanks are cleaned by underprivileged persons. And migration have some positive impacts and negative impacts. Positive impacts are they are creating employment and all. Negative impacts are that the native people are not getting the employment and they are it is overburden for the native peoples. Again, you can read the summary. Summary is very important because if you are reading summary, then you will know the crux. But if you are thinking what is important for the purpose of examination, the tourism and migration is one of it, and the history of tourism as well, and type of tourism as I told you. These are the three things which you need to keep in mind. Now when it comes to tourism through an anthropological lens, now here this is very 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 important. Please mark my words, this can be asked. If this cannot be asked and you have interest to learn this subject or pursue as your post graduation or do diploma in it, then it is very very important to understand this. It is the combination of past two chapter which we have studied, and here we will know what is the importance. Anthropology of tourism concentrated more on the way of life behavior of the thing. Basically is what I told you. I don't need to read this out. So far we have covered two chapter in half an hour. I think I won't be able to make a video of block 2. I will upload it block 1 today, and within 2-3 day I will upload block 2 as well. So here, what are the important social culture anthropologism, archaeological anthropology? These are the things which you have already studied. The interesting fact is that there is thing called sex tourism is also promoted in places like Thailand, where prostitution is legal. All prostitute have their protected rights. No one can rape them. They have all right preserved. They are all right preserved to fight against it, because they are doing it as a business or to earn their livings. Now, history of study of tourism in anthropology. If you will not read this, you have read the past thing, you will easily able to write it. So there is no need to read this. Or if you want to read this, you can read it for your knowledge, because it is totally what they have told in earlier. This is just to remind you or to recall. Now the thing is ethnography and tourism. This can be asked in 5 number short note. What is ethnography? Ethnography is the record or the research on the perspective of anthropology about the different culture, different ethos. Our India is also a diverse country, and too many ethnic groups live here. And tourism, we go see their way of living, their heritage. We have heritage in from Muslim period, from ruler period, from modern period. We have so many temples, so many mosques. So these are the ethnography, different ethnography in our tourism. The field site and the tourist spot. Majority of the tourist spot have been historically significant for people. Basically, we went for tourism to know the history. This is truth. We either go for pilgrimage tourism, or for the historical tourism like Taj Mahal, Red Fort, and there are so on Qutub Minar. These are the heritage and have some historical significance with them. Then tourist and guest. Everyone knows what is guest, what is tourist, and it is basically written over here. Nothing new. Only the scholars are quoted over here, which you need to read on your own. You need to define which scholar you can remember, which you cannot, because there are more than 500 scholars written in this book. You cannot remember all the 500. If you wanted to pursue, then you can pursue it further, but till now we have only 1.5 month in our hands, or so to say 1 month in our hand to prepare. So I will not recommend you that. You can go for with the 2 or 3, max to max 3 or 4 scholars to quote over there. Native, the host, the person who is coming for tourism is will be the guest, and the who is taking care is the host. What does host do? Host just arrange things for guests, accommodation, food. I think you all people have visited hostels while you are traveling. So their hostel, you will be provided food, home cooked food. If you are going into hotels, they will provide you home cooked food. Then they will generate revenue from it. I hope I made myself clear. Pilgrimage, again the same thing is coming here. Issue of authenticity and theoretical. This is something which I need to address. This is that people are going for tourism with some pre-assumptions that that thing will that to cater that demand. They authenticity is losing. If someone thinks there were elephants in Harappa civilization, or some Mesopotamia civilization, and if they went to visit those places, they want to see that whether it is existing over there or not. So the people deliberately sell those things as toys and promote those things, yes, that was there, whether it is historically proven or not. So this is the concern which is mentioned over here. Let me read out the examples. In tourism, authenticity implies not real truth but the truth that tourists want to see. As I told, in tourist, authenticity implies to not the real truth but the truth that the tourist wants to see. This is it, and there are two theories mentioned and all are revolving around it. So I hope you can study on your own. Three chapters are down. Now we are moving to fourth chapter, and it is tourism and culture. It is the easiest chapter which you can study, because you need to study the effect of tourism on the different culture. Here, this is very important. You need to know about the Edward Bond Taylor, which regarded as the father of social anthropology. In his book Primitive Culture, published in 1871, had stated, culture or civilization is that complex whole which includes knowledge, beliefs, arts, morals, law, custom, and any other capabilities. Okay, and here it is mentioned what is culture. Culture as consists of patterns, explicit, implicit. Explicit mean clear and implicit mean suggestions or hints of, and for public, acquired and transmitted by symbols, constituting the distinctive achievement of the human groups, including the embodiments in artifacts. Basically, it is written what is culture, and you need to remember this definition as it is, because this is the very apt definition of culture which I have found in it, and it will help you to enhance your answer while you go answer writing. Okay, culture consists of the behavior learned as a member of a social group and the knowledge, values, traditions or required. It is, again, I have already said you, in one chapter they will give you two three definition. You need to pick which one you can remember. I will go with this one, and otherwise it's all to cross culture interaction and acculturation debate. Acculturation meaning the imposition of dominant culture on the weaker or least dominant. Here, Burns defines acculturation is a process by which borrowing of one or some elements of the culture takes place as a result of contact at the distinct between two different society, as I explained you, whether it is language, body language or something, the culture. And the culture drift, this is also very important. You need to write at least one page on it. You need to find it through Google, or if you weren't able to do it, you can just comment in the description and I will provide to you in a video format, because my community tab is not open yet, because you people are not subscribing it. I don't know why. Please subscribe it. So let us study, move on, jump back to what is cultural drift. Cultural drift is something you if people or tourists going to visit, and they are imbibing their culture to the other, and the culture of that native, the host, is changing, and it is called culture drift. And let me read out. Cultural drift is an alternative conceptualization to explain the relationship between the tourist and their host. I hope I make myself understand. All in this page, same thing is written again and again. Cultural drift, the definition. Here also, here also. These are the points written over here. Now the tourist experience and debates on authenticity. As it is already mentioned, what is authenticity? Destination image formation. This is basically the sub part of the destination authenticity, because the owner of that tourist place recreate that place according to the expectation of tourists and compromise with authenticity. Image formation is something that the advertisements of the tourist place make a image in the mind of people which uh, derive them to go to visit that place, and the people generate revenue from that of those who are host and involved in hospitality services. So this is what is written here, and it is important, don't skip it. Same thing, advertisement, you can use these diagrams, flow chart, because it will cover your page, and Let me assure you, writing 5 pages is not a kid's task. It takes time and you need to practice it. It is over. Nothing much. Tourism and culture, I don't find it very important. I told you what topics are important, and I am not saying every topic is important, because if every topic is important, then there is no point making this video. I am just telling you after what I found important and what I am going to study. This is the way how I am going to study and approach it. If you are liking it, you can take it. If you want to modify it, you can modify it. Please comment in below what you are gonna do it. So now it is commodification of culture. Commodification, what do you understand by commodification? In starting, I have said you, before jumping into the chapter, just read out the words. This is political science and not something history or something. You need to know the meaning of commodification. Commodification is something to put a price tag on anything, to earn money, profit, economical benefit from the things. Earlier, tourism was just for leisure. Now it is the commodification. It is very clearly mentioned over here in introduction. Culture is the sum total of the our everyday life. What we do, how we act, how we go. This is very important about performing the everyday task in our life. But now here you will clarify what is commodification. But when these everyday activities are presented in a way that it is sold to the tourist, it becomes commodification. Anything on what you have put a price tag, sold to the tourist, it becomes commodification. This is the simple concept, and in whole chapter the same thing is written, but with the scholar's thought, which you need to quote it, because without scholars thought, this discipline would have not exist. We were seeing tourism only from the perspective of economical significance, no other significance, not from people's significance. So this is very important to know the scholars. Here Shepherd has stated can be defined and shared by a series of questions that tends to revolve on three. These are the questions which arise before defining commodification of culture. Individual motivation, why do people travel? Economic gains and losses, who benefits the tourist brings. These are the things. And Claude Lévi-Strauss in Tristes Tropicus. These are the French names or something like these Greek names, old names. So the pronunciation may vary people to people, because I am not the native of that place, and I don't want to compromise my culture, or I don't want to have cultural drift. I hope I made myself clear. Because it is very important to apply what we are studying. That's why I told. So this is it. Commodification and art forms. Here it will be written about the different art form and how commodification and the consequences, the deterioration of traditional art form due to the commodification, because it is changing for the solace of people. Here the case studies are given, which you need to read on your own. I would have read it, but there will be no sense of reading it, because you won't be able to understand or grasp it. I will only giving you the gist. From temple to community, these days people are offering fruits, milk and all. This is also commodification. People are giving donation, charity, which no one knows where it is going to use. So this is what it is written here about the Chinese country, Tibetan and all. And in second category, it is the example of heritage places like Taj Mahal and all. So this is it which you have to study. I have completed the block 1, and I am not going to continue block 2 in the very this video. I will put it in the other video after seeing your response. I am very hopeful that you will give response, subscribe it. It is a new channel, and it will be boost for me. And let me clear you, this channel is not for the purpose of only education videos. I am putting it because I think people are in need. When I was studying it, there was no video available for this, and this will help people because I am also studying it. My channel is about the My channel is about my whole journey, my goal, how I will reach it over there. So hopefully this video help, and basically my main motto is you can see this video on 2x. You can mark out what are the important topics, and you can read it by listening to this video. Don't see it, but listen to this video and treat it as a podcast. It will really help you while you will write. You will remember my thing, my sayings, what would I have said. So it will help you a lot. Once again, thank you for watching, and please subscribe it. It gives a huge impetus, and you will see a variety of content on this channel, because it is a journey of a student who is doing his graduation from open distancing learning like you. Thank you, and have a nice day.